on August the 12th, 2024 at 9:33 a.m. Show that all members of the court are present in the courtroom and a quorum is present.
I did.
Greg did. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, if everyone will stand, we're going to do the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag. Commissioner Mims will lead us in the prayer this morning.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to say thank you, Lord, for letting us gather here today. We ask you, Father God, as we work for the men and women of this county, Lord, let these be the decisions that you want them to be, Lord. We ask you to bless our men and women who are fighting for our freedom and bless this country, this nation, and this county. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anybody signed up, Mark, for public comment? Okay. All right, moving to item number 4, that's a consent agenda. Consent agenda is considered to be self-explanatory, will be enacted with one motion, but there will not be a separate discussion on these items. However, any consent agenda item may be removed for individual consideration pursuant to a request by a Commissioners Court member. First, we have budget amendments, number 55 through 63, and then also 66. We've got some other budget amendments also to consider, but they're along with the agenda items, so these are the ones to be approved this morning in the consent agenda. Also, bills, we need to approve bills. Utilities crossing county roads, is there anybody that's got utility crossing county road?
Yes, sir.
I don't.
Okay. Precinct, Commissioner Dixon in precinct 3. Commissioner Chapin, or
Yes, sir.
y'all got some?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, yes, sir, mine's on, Anderson County Road 3723. Spectrum had run into a problem, not enough poles there, so they're gonna go underground with the line. And they're just gonna bore beside the county road and run a new route down beside Anderson County Road 3723.
Okay, that's the only one you have?
Yes, sir.
And Commissioner Hill said none?
No, sir.
Okay.
And the Spectrum has one on Anderson County Road 2202,
20.
Saltworks Road.
Okay.
They had already, went in and done it, but they ran into another problem. They had to go reroute it. It's the same location that we had already approved previous.
Okay. That's the only one you have?
And then,
Oh.
$2806.
Rashad, can you move your mic down a little bit?
Okay, there's gonna be an existing, proposed pipeline on 2806 that needs, maintenance, and it'll be, at the existing ground, proposal for the one they already previously had done. It's on County Road 2608, and this will be with, how you say it? Pier, Percheron.
Okay.
I was gonna say Pinnacle, but it's Percheron. It's off the gas plant out there also. It's about 10 developers out there.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That it?
Yes, sir, that's it.
Commissioner Chapin, you have any?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. And then we have the minutes to approve for the regular meeting on June the 24th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. All right, item number 5 is consider and take possible action on a resolution of intent to establish the Anderson County PACE program and set a public hearing. And Commissioner Mims has been working on that, and so I'll let him kind of.
Well, that's fine, but I was gonna ask you to go back to utility crossing real fast. The one that's, with, if you allow, can we go back? After this?
Well, let's just go back now then.
Okay.
Okay. You got another utility crossing County Road?
Yes, sir, it's still on 2608, but it's, two-phase at the Bethel West property. when they come in with their pipeline, they're also gonna tie into the, Atmos Energy line. So there will be a install of a 12-inch also. So I need to make sure I stated it was twofold.
So that's just a note on the one we'd already approved, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mark can add that to that
Yes, sir.
bottom of it. Okay. Here's this. All right, back to item number 5, consider and take possible action on a resolution of intent to establish the Anderson County PACE program and set a public hearing. And Steve Minnick with Texas PACE Authority is here to address the court and kind of get, we had one presentation several weeks ago, and he's doing the follow-up and has presented the documents for us to be able to make a decision on participating or not.
Thank you, Judge McKinney. Just for the record, my name is Stephen Minnick. I'm the Program Director for the Texas PACE Authority. You've had a presentation on this, so I'm not
Can
gonna
you
try
pull
to...
that microphone a little closer to you? It'll slide down the podium. There you
Is
go.
that better?
That's a
There
lot
you go.
better, yes.
So I'm not gonna waste your time by going back over plowed ground, but, we're the Texas PACE Authority. We represent local governments in Texas. Depending on the timing, you may end up being the 100th jurisdiction that we actually, adopt the program for. So that'll be a significant milestone for us. The key to this program is it costs the county nothing. It risks nothing. All the costs are borne by property owners who decide to participate. I always call it a beautiful Texas solution to a problem because it's a totally free market, voluntary, pay-as-you-go, cost-effective system. There are no subsidies involved. There is no government mandates. Property owners that can benefit by decreasing their utilities costs get to plow the savings back into the debt service on a loan that has loan conditions that make it much more attractive for lenders, much more attractive for property owners, and it generates new economic activity and property tax relief in the county because you're not having to raise tax rates. The increased value of the properties themselves will drive increased valuation for the county. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody involved, and we appreciate the fact that you're bringing this up, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. It's an incentive to help attract new business and actual business owners here. It will help with their utilities overall, and it'll help basically with the property tax, as it said. But it's no cost to the county or the city. And I know we have Christoph here. Christoph, the city's on board, PDC on board. You want to come up and say something briefly about it?
Absolutely. Thanks for that opportunity, Commissioner Mims. So yes, from the EDC's perspective.
Okay, just for the clerk though.
Oh.
State your name.
Sorry.
Who you represent.
I thought I had the greatest introduction of all
Well,
time.
you've been here before.
Christoph Trahan, Palestine EDC Director. From the EDC's perspective, this would be a really positive program, not just for the city, but for the county. What I think you guys have seen over the last year and some change from us is we've had a lot of success in getting older buildings revamped and reutilized, two good examples of that are the Murray building that's now the LS Tractor facility and the old Hodges packing plant, which is now going to be Colezo Aromas. With any of these buildings, what we typically see are major challenges on the part of the developer to actually, get the building back up to speed. Some of these buildings have been unoccupied for over 20 years, and so they're far beyond code. They have to have a bunch of upgrades. So to be able to access a program like PACE that would not only allow them to facilitate some of those upgrades a little more cost effectively, but also in a manner that would, be positive from a bottom line standpoint for the energy costs for the building moving forward. We see it as a really attractive program, and that it could benefit us in a lot of ways to continue that track record of getting some of these older buildings new life and new utilization.
They just have to apply for it to get it.
Yes, sir. I'd defer to the subject matter expert to talk about the actual structure of the PACE program, but my understanding is that they would just have to apply and leverage their property to be able to access longer-term capital to be able to pay down the cost of the specific upgrades that they're using to retrofit the property and make it energy conservative.
Yes, sir. Mr. Steve?
I talked to Robert Myers, too, our tax attorney, when we were looking at this before. So essentially, what happens is if somebody does get a loan for this upgrade or for some type of benefit on, then the loan is actually guaranteed more than a normal loan because it's collected, if somebody defaults, it's collected like delinquent taxes. So it's not subject to other laws that it'd be a applied exactly like the delinquent taxes. So somebody doing the loan is more apt to do that because they've got some other protections in there.
That's really the key role of the county, is your commitment that if you did go to default, you would use your collection process and it would get treated just like a delinquent property tax. Now, as I've discussed with the judge previously, we've been doing this since 2016. We're just about to cross our $500 million loan value mark for 98 jurisdictions in Texas. We've never had a default yet. Lenders don't want a default on these loans. They'll work it out. They'll restructure the loan if necessary. So we've never actually had a default. So when somebody asks me, well, how's it done? I have to kind of, well, I'm not really sure yet. We haven't had to go through it yet, but you know what the process is. If it were to add to your workload as far as defaults in the county, it would end up being a tiny, tiny percentage of your existing tax delinquency cases. So and your agent would recover all their costs anyway. So no one is left holding the bag in this. So appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And this has been posted on our website, which had to be done prior to our meeting today.
Yes.
So that was taken care of. And the resolution's in your packet, and if we pass that, then everybody needs to we've all got to sign it, so I want to make sure that we do that. Commissioner Mims, did you want to make comments, or?
No, sir, I'll just reiterate everything that both gentlemen just stated earlier. It'd be a great tool, great, way of helping getting some of the old warehouses rehabilitated and getting companies to want to come in and get to them. Also, getting some of the newer, facilities on the market that just would help our tax base overall.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions, Commissioner?
No, sir.
No.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution of intent to establish Anderson County PACE program and set a public hearing for our next regular meeting, which will be the August the 26th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims. Do I have a second?
Second.
I wanted to make sure there wasn't a provision. Okay, all right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Okay. We can go ahead and sign that so we've got it done. Got two copies here. Steve, once we get a file stamped copy, then we'll send that to you. If you hadn't got that in just 2 or 3 days, then give me a call, okay? I just gotta make sure the clerk's got everything filed and we're good to go.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There's two signature pages. I'll get it tomorrow. Okay. All right, item number 6 is discuss and take action on a one-time employer contribution of $250,000 to the Texas County and District Retirement System for the 2024 budget, and also approve the Anderson County Retirement 2025 plan year contribution rate of 13.11%, and approve budget amendment number 67. So, is there any questions about that? We discussed that the other day, so I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
That come out of our ARPA.
No, it cannot come out of our fund.
Okay.
It has to come out of other.
All right, item number 7 is discuss and take action on a contract between Anderson County and Southern Health Partners for the county jail, health and medical services for county inmates. Sheriff Flores, morning.
I'm gonna take it for
You're
him.
gonna stand in this morning, okay? Go-
Yeah, that's what he pays me the big bucks for.
Okay,
Obviously, in addition to the 5% increase, they added personnel this time, which drove the price of the contract up a little bit higher. We talked about it in very great detail at budget workshop the other day. But we would ask that, the commissioners go ahead and, accept the contract from Southern Health for the 24-25 fiscal year budget period.
is there a total on this, or is it?
There is a total on it. I didn't bring the numbers
I
with
think you
Judge.
had, when it's like almost 900,000, it was
It's right at
800.
$900,000. If memory serves, it's about 76,000 a
And we
month.
budgeted for we're about to
The next
kind of
item,
ratify
yes,
some
sir.
things, but anyway, we budgeted 950,000 for next year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good, okay.
This, was it 950 or 925?
No, we
It-
budgeted
No, it was
950.
950,000. Yeah, because of the anticipated costs and some of the other things, they may have to buy some equipment,
Yes, sir.
then we've made it 950,000.
Okay.
Part of the contract is that some of the smaller equipment purchases and medical gas and things like that are our responsibility. And, you know, even though it boggles my mind, those little small tanks of oxygen that you see people with, it's $118 a month for us to lease those 2 bottles,
Right.
for medical, so.
All right. Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve the, contract, between Anderson County and, Southern Health Partners for the county jail health and medical services for county inmates. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered, okay. We'll get that.
I'm still here for the next one.
Oh, okay, all right. And we'll need to get them to sign that too, so,
Yes, sir.
okay, all right. Item number 8 is consider and take action on a one-time incentive retention pay for each of the current full-time Anderson County employees in the amount of $1,000, and $500 to regular part-time employees to be paid with Anderson County Rescue Plan Act funds to be issued with the first regular payroll in the month of December 2024. Elected and appointed officials will not be eligible for this one-time payment. Did you?
I actually, wasn't gonna say anything about this. I thought it was the next one, but since I'm here, I know the sheriff would say this if he were standing here, which is we certainly appreciate the court recognizing the economic times that we're in right now and trying to give all of the county employees a little help, during that time. And it'll be, well received coming through right at Christmas.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye. All opposed? So ordered. Okay. Item number 9 is consider and take action on using American Rescue Plan, Act funds to, pay. This should have been $780,000, not $760,000.
I think you skipped 8, Judge. No, you didn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
780.
Yeah, it's $780,000. Megan caught that, so.
That was my fault.
So to pay $780,000 of jail medical expenditures in 2024 to Southern Health Partners and $402,978.20 for jail meals to Five Star Correction Services under our, contract. Both current contract and the one we just adopted. Correct?
Adding that 20,000, is that gonna mess up our figures from the other day?
No,
Okay.
that,
It was
This is
figured
a
in at
typo on
780,
the
but they
agenda.
put it at seven.
Yeah, it was just,
Yeah, 'cause if
That
you
was my
see
fault.
here-
it was just typo.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
that's fine,
Yeah, that didn't change anything.
all right.
and I did a budget, I've got it in front of you, I believe.
Okay,
It
thank
shows
you.
everything.
Okay.
Now, my only question with this, and it'll dovetail into the next item as well, we may be able to answer them both at the same time, is I'm understanding that what we're paying for out of ARPA, if my thought process is right, is the entire contract that began in September 10th of '23 and will end September 10th of '24. Is that correct?
No, it'll just be the end part of it. We can't go back into 23, so we're just paying for January 1st
Of '24,
of 24
yes, sir.
through September. This is the medical?
Yes, sir.
9 months.
Okay, through September, okay?
Okay,
And then we budgeted enough, or there's enough left in the budget to take us to essentially to the end of the year,
December.
Hopefully.
okay?
okay, so
It's only
Even
expenses that
with-
actually happened in
even with
24.
the rate increase, there's enough budgeted to take us to the end of the year?
Should be.
Okay, I mean, there's $45,000 difference if my math is right, so that was my only question about it, is I was just,
And we still have contingency if we have to cover,
Okay.
if it's a little more than what we anticipate, okay?
sure,
And
that's
also
all I
with
need to know.
the incentive pay, you know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be less because people have, deductions taken out, so that's on the high side of the incentive pay, so there'll be money left over in ARPA there, not a lot, but, you know,
Okay,
if the court rededicates that.
And then on the meals, then that's gonna take care of, it can't go back into same.
January 1st
It
of
can't go
'24 to
past
May
January
of
1,
'24.
so it's just for that through May.
Okay, perfectly clear now, I just, when we left the other day, I wasn't absolutely clear exactly what we were talking about.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve, using American Rescue Plan Funds Act to pay $780,000 of jail medical expenditures in 2024 to Southern Health Partners and $402,978.20 for jail meals to Five Star Correction Services under both their contracts. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye. All opposed? So ordered. Okay. All right, item number 10 is consider to take action on using American Rescue Plan Act funds to pay $675,000 of jail medical expenditures in 2025 to Southern Health Partners and $125,000 of jail meals to Five Star Correctional Services. And this is contracts approved in Commissioners Court in 2024 for 2025, which
Be
we've already done the
September.
meals,
Right.
and then this is also for the one we just did, okay? Some of this had to kinda happen in order. Any questions on, item number 10?
I have none.
No, sir.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve using American Rescue Plan Act funds to pay $675,000 of jail medical expenditures in 2025 to Southern Health Partners, and for the jail, and for $125,000 of jail meals for the jail to, Five-Star Correction Services under both of their contracts approved in Commissioners Court in 2024 and for 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye. All opposed? So ordered. Item number 11, consider and take action on the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles imposition of official fees for, year 2025. And our tax assessor collector, Margie Grissom. I think I have one right here, a copy. You need it?
Here, I can go off Rashad's.
Okay. I think we did this last year too, didn't we?
Yes, we did this last year, we do it every year.
Every year? Okay.
We are at the max as to what we can charge. We do charge road and bridge fee for $10, and then we charge the $1.50 for, the child safety fee. Can't go up any higher, but we just have to approve this for this coming year.
All right, so it's $10 for the road and bridge fee and $1.50 for the child safety, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Any questions, Commissioner?
No, sir.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve, the imposition of, optional fees for the year 2025 with Texas Department of Motor Vehicles for, the fees of $10 for the road and bridge, which can be collected, and $1.50, for the child safety that's collected by, our auto department in the Anderson County Tax Assessor Collector's Office. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin, all in favor say aye. All opposed? So ordered. Okay.
Does the court still wish to send the money 75% to Child Advocacy Center and then 25% for the car seat? Or would y'all wanna change that?
That's what we have in the proposed budget, correct?
Well, we just, budget the entire fund balance,
Okay.
but that's where y'all voted on it a couple of years ago and y'all haven't changed it.
Where all could he go to?
Oh, there's many places it could go to. I mean, you have to ask me on the spot. There's Stan actually had a list when y'all voted to do this the first time of all the places that y'all could send to in Anderson County. I'd have to find it.
Do we have to do it now?
No, 'cause this is for next year.
Okay.
Can we come back to it next
Yeah.
agenda?
Let me do some research on it and I'll come back.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, item number 12 is consider and take action on approval for reimbursement to Tennessee Colony Volunteer Fire Department in the amount of $75.76 for batteries and, chargers for radio equipment with their approved ARPA funds.
This included tax, so it's actually only $70.96.
Okay, $70.96,
And 96 cents, yes, sir.
okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye. All opposed? So ordered. Item number 13, consider to take action on repairing a driveway on Range Road. Commissioner Chapin.
Yes, sir. We had a little incident just recently with, one of my dump trucks backed into a driveway and ran over you can pass this down, they can kinda look at the pictures, and ran over a little brick wall that's there at the end of the lady's driveway and tore the brick wall up. Little Darryl backed into it, pulled the wall that, broke it apart. And what I'm wanting the court to look at today, there's some pictures in there of her driveway. She's right there at the start of Range Road. She could use a little bit of wrap up in her driveway. And she agreed with me that if I could put a little wrap in her driveway, I wouldn't have to get a, masonry guy to come rebuild the wall, just take the wall on down. And I think it'd be cheaper for me to go fix it. And just to fix it instead of claiming it on insurance and doing all that. So she just needs a little wrap up the driveway and me to haul that broken wall off. So,
think you'd be money ahead doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Is it, can we do it though? That's what I'm asking. Do y'all feel confident we can do
I
that
think
without authority? I don't want somebody
Legally.
coming up and saying
No, I think
we
if
can
the
or
court
can't. Do we
agrees
need,
to
do we need to get Allison to look at it? I'm just asking.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, but
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think so. I mean, but like, right now, what I need to do is, either, I know that we could either repair that or turn it in on insurance and have the insurance company handle that, or we could go repair it. But, I don't know if there'd be a legal issue with us repairing the driveway. The first 10 foot of the driveway belongs to me, so really, it's just an additional, maybe 10 more feet of a little bit more material, but I didn't wanna put her any extra material up in her driveway to compensate for that, but the first part of that driveway is in our right of way.
Right.
So I
think
really
you
need to
can
fix
do
it,
that.
leaving her a little small hole.
We ran over mailboxes before, and the court has voted to
I
replace
changed
the
mailboxes
mailboxes
pretty
with
recently.
a decorative mailbox.
And I don't have a problem with it. I just don't, somebody,
Mhm. I think in the long run, like I said, it's gonna be much cheaper for us to put a little material that's basically given to us by the state, but, take some of mine a lot, it would maybe take a half a bucket of material to fix their driveway, to keep me from having to buy bricks and hire, I can't lay brick. So I'd have to have a masonry guy to go over and lay the wall back out for her.
Now, personally, I feel it's fine if the court agrees to it, that it could be done.
It's be about like what
Man,
we're
I don't-
repairing culverts and
We've
stuff.
done other things.
Right.
As long as the court agrees to it, knows what you're doing. That's just my opinion.
okay. All right, Ollie, do we need to put the address in that order? Is there an address or something?
Do we,
I don't think I have an address on
You got a question?
I was gonna say, Joe, we don't ever put the address when, you cut trees on the other side of the right of way when we're redoing the road construction, like out there you just do the road and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear what.
Right.
That's all. All right, I'll entertain a motion to, allow Commissioner Chapin to, repair the driveway on the Range Road, to make right, I guess.
Yeah, to exchange for the repair of the brick wall.
Because of, damage that was done to the brick wall at the driveway entrance by Road and Bridge 1. I think that's clear enough.
Yeah, that's,
So,
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye. So ordered. Item number 14, consider and take action on repairing a culvert on Anderson County Road 185 outside of the right of way.
It's the same thing, it's a little different, like what I think Joe and Rashad dealt with. I've got a drainage coming down 185 for approximately maybe 2/3 of a mile. And when it bends back to go to the Farnham Market Road 294, there's a creek right in the bend. And the man allowed me to cut that ditch line into that creek. So he's got a cattle guard crossing over the main part of the creek he uses every day, but right below it, probably 20 yards out of the right of way, he has just a culvert, and the culvert's washed out, and he just needs it to be reset. And it's just a matter of putting some more dirt on top of it. And I feel like some of that load that I put on him, same as y'all had, it's caused that, which I'm sure we had so much rain it could have caused either way, but it didn't help with having all my water putting on him. So I just want the court to allow me to repair that, and it's gonna be approximately 20 yards, further than our right of way would be, and just to reset his culvert and, put some dirt over it.
And we've done that.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
To
sir.
reroute the flow of water in.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I know we've done that.
And I could turn
And
the
that's-
water and take it down the highway, but it's a pretty good problem, to do what I
It'd
need to
be
do.
unsafe going out in the
I would have
highway
to
and
set
all
new
that.
culverts at his other parts of his driveways and all that, and so it was a problem, and so it was easier for me to dump it on him. And he agreed with it, and had no problems when he called me and said, hey, I washed it out, could you reset it? And here I am, making
Right.
sure the court's okay with me resetting his culvert.
I think in the motion, we probably need to show something to, I'm trying to think how to word it, with regard to the flow of the water.
That the county put on him.
I make a motion, we allow Commissioner Chapin to reset the culvert on County Road 185 where the county has rerouted the water through the man's property.
And cause it
Okay.
to water.
It's caused erosion.
It may have caused some of the erosion of it,
And to reset the culvert.
and to reset the culvert.
Okay. All right, motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So
Thank you.
ordered. Okay. Item number 15, consider and take action on awarding the bid for Road and Bridge Precinct 2, reclaimer. Commissioner Mims.
Yes, sir, Judge. We received 2 bids, and the machines, couldn't work. Actually, after we opened the bids, I went on down and I went and put my eyes on both machines. The difference is, they wasn't to the aspects of what we specifically put in the bid proposal, so at this time, we cannot accept these bids. I don't wanna accept them because they have, shovel foots on the drum instead of,
Well,
diamond teeth, and they're not gonna cut, our material.
Okay. So you're requesting for reject all bids?
That's correct, sir.
Okay.
It was a good thing I wouldn't look at them
Mixers.
physically, because
Yeah.
They weren't
Hidden.
grinders.
Right.
we would've bought it,
Yeah.
and I'd have had to change out a drum under there.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to, as recommended by Commissioner Mims, to, reject all bids, that were filed for Road and Bridge Precinct 2 reclaimer.
Are you gonna go back out again?
Yes, sir, and then I'm gonna see what's gonna be with Richard Brothers.
Okay.
I like to ask the court, but I know it's not on this agenda, so I can't say, go back out.
All right. Do I have a motion to reject the bids?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye. All opposed? So ordered. Item number 16 is consider and take action to declare equipment for, Precinct 2 Road and Bridge surplus to be sold at auction. Commissioner Mims.
Yes, sir, I had one other dump truck to add to our list, and I think we gave you the information to it already. If not, here it is right here. Yes, sir. It's 2002 F-750, last 6 of the VIN is A17952, and for our records is unit number 11.
Okay. All right. Is that in the form of a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, motion by Commissioner Mims, to declare, what was it?
A 2002 F-750,
F-750.
single axle dump truck.
Okay, dump truck, identified as our unit number 11, and VIN numbers 3, Frank David X-ray, Frank 75, Henry 62, Mary Adam 17952. Motion by Commissioner Mims. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by, Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Okay. Item number 17 is hold a public hearing to, lower the speed limit on Anderson County Road 3582 from 60 miles per hour to, 35 miles per hour.
Does Mark already have?
So I'll,
You already got this information, or?
oh, for Mark?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so at this time, I'll open the public hearing, at 10:12 a.m. for anyone wishing to speak on, the lowering of the speed limit on Anderson County Road 3582 from 60 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour, in Precinct 3. Is there anyone here to speak for or against, lowering the speed limit? I see none, and I see nobody approaching the mic, so I'll close the public hearing at 10:13 a.m. All right. Going to, item number 18, consider take a, oh, wait a minute. Somehow that got missed, I guess.
What?
I don't know. There should be an action item there.
Yeah, to go ahead and change the speed limit to 35 miles an hour.
It wasn't on here.
Ma'am?
It wasn't on here.
Yeah.
That's so picky, Megan.
Can we just
I
put
don't
that,
like it.
we've held a public hearing, can we
Yeah,
just
it's-
put it on the next one?
Put it on next.
Okay,
I'll go ahead and get the signs ordered.
okay, all right.
I got something I'll tell you.
All right, item number 18, consider and take action on rescinding an inventory transfer voted on June the 24th, 2024 in the Commissioners Court, moving a Bobcat gas welder and Ingersoll Rand air compressor from Precinct 3 Road and Bridge to Precinct 4 Road and Bridge. Commissioner Dixon.
Yes, so this is just some, misunderstanding we had when we was transferring the stuff out of the shop. Some inventory from Precinct 3 got swapped over, if things are correct, we transferred this Ingersoll Rand compressor, to Precinct 4, and we need to rescind that and leave it with Precinct 3. And the same thing with the Bobcat gas welder, it was in possession of Precinct 3, and it needs to stay there.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to rescind an inventory transfer voted on June the 24th, 2024, in Commissioners Court, moving a Bobcat gas welder and Ingersoll Rand air compressor from Precinct 3 Road and Bridge to Precinct 4 Road and Bridge, and leave those two items in the possession and inventory of Precinct 3. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. Okay. Item number 19, consider and take action on a wire transfer in the amount of $6,044,797.60 to establish an escrow account and the cost of issuance to defease the Series 2021 certificates of obligation. Auditor
I've spoken to,
Lambright.
sorry, I've spoken to Mr. Williford from Hilltop Securities, and he said that this should take place August 22nd, and he said that we would need to do the wire transfer the day before. And then it was sent over a defeasance verification report, and in this report, it lists the cost of issuance, which is $10,300, which is a redemption fee, bond counsel fee, financial advisor fee, escrow agent fee, verification fee, and then the rest of it is the COs. Right now, the fund currently has $5,959,899.80. So it's short $84,897.80. So that will need to come from the debt service fund. $84,897.80. That's what it's short.
Okay.
So then, with the court's
So
approval.
as part of this, okay,
With
as
the
part
court's-
of this, we're gonna have to
Go
make
ahead.
that part of the motion? To use that.
Well, I mean, you could just say, with the available, amount of money, with the available money that's in the current COs, and then any deficit coming from debt service, you could say that.
Okay, so it's coming out of debt service, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So with your approval, then we'll, start moving the money and then be ready when we have to do the wire transfer.
Well, we're only short 84.
84, yes.
And the original, do you know what the original amount was when they?
What we received, 6.3.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve a wire transfer in the amount of $6,044,797.60 to establish an escrow account and the cost of issuance to defease the Series 2021 certificates of obligation for, with the proceeds of the COs out of debt service and additional, anything we're short, anything additional would be, out of debt service fund balance for $84,897.80. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Okay. Item number 20, consider and take action on creating a mechanic position in Road and Bridge Precinct 2 with excess payroll funds from the county shop and transferring $10,000 of operating budget from the shop to Road and Bridge Precinct 2 construction materials. And approve budget amendments number 64 and 65 to, any discussion?
No, sir.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would the court, next court want to make an official action item to close the shop, so then we can transfer all the inventory to Road and Bridge 2?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Okay. Just help me remember to get that on the agenda, okay? All right. Did you make the motion?
Greg.
Okay. Did somebody, we don't have a second yet.
Yeah, Nat's part.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wanna make sure is there a second?
Second.
Second. So motion by Commissioner Chapin, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Okay. All right, item number 21 is consider and take action on declaring the following sheriff's office items surplus for the auction. 2018 four-door Dodge Charger.
Judge, I'd like to speak on it if I could.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna cover it, but
Sure.
let's just cover it with a motion instead of reading V's 2 or 3 times.
That'll work.
Okay, go ahead.
These items that we have listed here have outlived their service life. The 2018 four-door Charger, the VIN number 2, Charles 3, David X-ray, Adam, George 7, John Henry, 295346, and it shows to be asset number 305-492. It was involved in a crash and ultimately totaled. We acquired it back from the insurance company. We had a very good vehicle that had an engine problem, and we repurposed the engine out of that. So it's basically just a shell. We've also robbed a few parts off of it, door panels and a steering wheel with the airbag and that kind of stuff, that we reutilized in another vehicle. The other items have outlived their service life. Most of these things have been there for quite a few years. We're doing some closet cleaning and trying to get rid of all the excess things that are broken or in disrepair. And they're all listed there, as you can see.
Okay.
And I would ask the court to, let us put this stuff in the auction so we can, get it out of our building.
Declare it surplus?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
No,
Was it declared surplus on the auction items? If they don't sell, this would clear him to be able to haul them to the scrapyard, right?
No.
We'd have to come back and do that.
Haul it to the scrapyard?
have to
The
come
court-
back and
The court would have to
approve.
destroy.
Okay.
The truck might not say, somebody's
Right.
not wanting to buy it for scrap.
Yeah, 'cause like that Charger, if
If it
somebody
doesn't
doesn't
sell,
want
we could have it.
you could take it for
Declared.
scrap metal.
Scrap metal and drag it across the scales, yes, sir.
But we need to come back and do that, okay?
Yes, we don't
Yes,
need
sir.
to store it, we need to haul it out and get it out of your way.
Okay.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve declaring the following sheriff's office items surplus and allowing them to be put in the auction. And it's a 2018 four-door Dodge Charger, VI, the VIN is 2, Charles 3, David X-ray, Adam, George 7, John Henry, 295346, asset number 305-492, various pieces of workout equipment, a Frigidaire dehumidifier, a paper shredder, wooden lockers, commercial kitchen sink, kitchen hat coat warmer, this broken, outdated radios with miscellaneous parts, a metal desk, and 26 office chairs. I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right, Casey asked me to get this on the agenda. We need to order the general election for Anderson County's local officers, November the 5th, 2024, in accordance with Texas Election Code, Section 3.004. So I'll entertain a motion to, order the election. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. She asked me to put this on, she's still working on getting the contracts with all the other, entities to, they're gonna be involved in the election. So, just to help her on her timeframes, making sure she meets all the time, that, she asked me if we could go ahead and authorize this. So item number 23 is authorize the Anderson County Judge to sign and approve, standard interlocal agreements for local entities requesting election services during the November 5th, 2024 general election. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Okay. Item number 24 is consider and take action on the 2024 proposed tax rate, which will fund the 2025 budget. And, Martin, our tax assessor collector.
What my job in this part of the court is to read the certified values, which is boring, but I did a little differently this year, and then read their tax rates. We're gonna do the values first. The total market value for the general fund and the FMSC is $8,202,723,564. The total exemptions for the general fund is $3,766,891,685, and the FMSC, which is $3,769,76,246. The difference between those two, just to remind people, or y'all, the FMFC gives an additional amount of $3,000 from the homestead that the county does not give. And then the county gives an additional $6,000 for the over 65 exemption that the FMFC doesn't allow. So that's the difference in those two figures. The certified, so that makes a certified total value of $4,435,831,879. And then the certified value for the FMSC is $4,433,647,318. Those are your certified values. But in addition to that, just for your information, the freeze adjustments were $636,487,544 or $554, and that makes the adjusted value of $3,799,353,325. Now the total value of the new property was less than last year, which last year we all know was huge. Last year was $226,764, and this year it is $62,958,752. Something else that I did not put in here, which I want you to know, is the railroad rolling stock that is not included in the certified values was $9,853,685 or $695. Now, the tax rates based on all those figures, the no new revenue rate, you have your general fund of .455039 per $100. The FMFC is .012842 per $100, which is a total no new revenue rate of .467881 per $100. The voter approval rate, the general fund is .9593,898 per $100. FMFC is .0134242 per $100. Total voter approval rate is .607318 per 100. Your sales tax less a sales tax adjustment of .107108 per 100. The unused increment rate, this year it was calculated differently. It goes back 3 years, where we had our biggest unused increment rate was back in 2020, which dropped off, and that's where we had the 0.4 cents, 4 cents. We used a little bit of that, but they added in more calculations, which I cannot explain all of that, and they added some values, that in the new, calculations, which left us zero unused increment. We've always known use it or lose it. Well, that came about this year. But depending on what y'all adopt this year, there's a possibility of having more next year if we go below the voter approval rate.
And we are under the voter approval.
Yes, we are. What the proposed was under the voter approval rate.
That's correct.
Okay.
But
that hadn't been voted on, right?
not yet.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna do, but
Okay.
it's still about 1.5 cents or something like that.
Okay.
I don't have the exact total.
Okay.
We're under the voter approval rate,
Okay.
in kind of middle of no new revenue rate, so
Okay.
about halfway between.
Any questions?
I don't have any.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, the proposed can, like we did last year, if we vote on the proposed, it can still be changed, because we still have to have public hearings. But, right now, we need to vote on the proposed, we gotta have a record vote. And, Mark, you wanna still vote?
Yes.
Still go down after this?
Yes, because this is just so Margie can put it in the paper.
You can't go above,
and
you
then-
can't go under.
You can do either.
But if we approve the proposed today, it could still go down.
The day we adopt, the day
We
the
can
court
drop
adopts, then you can change the vote if that's what
That's
y'all
what,
wish to do.
Okay.
all right, we've gotta have a record vote on this, though. So, first is on the tax rate, and then the second motion is gonna be for, setting the hearing.
That's another agenda item.
I'm sorry?
That's another agenda item too.
Okay. So, I'll make a motion to set the proposed 2024 tax rate, which will fund the 2025 budget for a total combined rate of .482893, consisting of the general fund rate of .428190 and the farm to market rate .013193, which is a total M&O rate of .441383, added to and the debt service rate fund will be .041510. Okay. I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, and, we'll do this one at a time. All those in favor, and Commissioner Chapin?
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Mims?
Aye.
All right, I'm aye. Commissioner Dixon?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous vote. So ordered, okay? Next item, is, setting the public hearing on the tax rate. So I'll make a motion to set August 26, 2024, at the regularly scheduled meeting in Anderson County Commissioners Court, scheduled at 9:30 a.m. for a public hearing on the 2025 budget and the 2024 tax rate. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. This needs to be a record vote, I think, too, so Commissioner, Chapin?
Aye.
All right, Commissioner Mims?
Aye.
Okay.
Yes,
Com-
thank you.
I'm aye. Commissioner Dixon?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous vote. Okay.
He did. Yeah. He put it in the form of motions.
that's the end of the regular meeting, and, we're gonna, do y'all wanna take a quick break or anything? Let's take about 10 minutes, is that all right? Okay. We'll reconvene about, by that clock, we'll be back at, 10:45. Right. After a brief recess, reconvene with all members present, showing that we do have a quorum back in the courtroom at 10:49 a.m. And we'll go into a budget workshop and just at some point discuss, take any actions or changes to the 2025 proposed budget. So,
May I start?
yeah, I know you put a lot of figures and stuff together.
Yes.
Okay, and I think everybody's got a handout, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's right there, underneath the ARPA budget.
Right here.
Nope, underneath the ARPA budget.
Right here.
Yes, sir. Okay, so the first thing in your handout that's paper clipped together is all the approved budget changes to the proposed budget, which included raising the clerk to $39,000 and the foreman
Now,
and.
that's this one right here, correct?
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay.
And then we combined the TSA supplement to the base salary in the tax office. And that's the first two pages is all salary. And then the third page is, I added 1,000 for two elections for their phone, 1.7 million to contingency, and then reducing the jail's food service and medical for the contract. And the difference of what was added to the foreman's is in the, coming out of the construction materials, and then taking out the 17,000 and change out of Road and Bridge 2 that came from the shop.
This year.
That's next year.
You got the
Cause we put it in, I put it in 25.
Yeah.
So I was taking it out. We put 10,000 for 24, which are already approved.
And then what you gonna do with the rest of it?
I'm just gonna fund balance. There's not much left, actually.
Yeah,
There's only like
that's
$800 left in the shop, actually. And then,
When we get ready to do that closing of the shop, will you have that number?
yes, 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 sir, I can have that. And then at the bottom, it shows what the current deficit is, of the filed proposed budget, which was $1,652,344, and the proposed changes that y'all approved, which added $1,212,566 to it, so now the deficit is $2,864,910.
Okay.
And then also, I printed, a new updated department budgeted positions to show you what it looks like for everyone that y'all changed. And then also a new fund balance summary showing the estimated ending fund balance now with all the approved changes of the general fund, will be $6,491,066, which is, a reserve of 22.20%, which our policy is 18 to 25.
Yeah, recommendation, our policy is 15, isn't it?
Our policy is 18 to 25.
That's what we said?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you told me 15 the other day.
I thought it was 15, but it's 18. I think you said the state was 15.
No, the state's 18 to 20.
Oh, ours is 18 to 25.
Same as what the state recommends, yeah. I mean, pretty close.
Okay. Let me bring something up. Something that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, because it's affecting our community. And, I wanna talk about a few salaries. But one of the things that the people across the hall over here, have been here since about the 25th of July. That's when they started. Their lease that the court approved goes through August 31st. And so I was gonna give you, as a result of what our emergency management people have done in taking phone calls and talking to people, putting out information, documenting all the disasters, not just for the county, but, and Encore and, well, Encore wasn't in it, but Houston County Electric and Trinity Valley, Electric Co-op. But these are individual claims, and I thought I'd show you, as a result of what, that work that they did to get all this set up so these people actually can come in here and do disaster, relief. And I blew this up so you can see, just for Anderson County, and this is just, through last Friday, 676 people have registered for claims, and they've determined, valid registrations were 659. They did 513 inspections, and then essentially they had 594 referrals for the individual help. 354 have been determined eligible, and they've paid out essentially either loans through the SBA or FEMA reimbursements or assistance for $1,335,892.75. So that's over $1 million that's going to help people. And one person that I had that was over here actually came in to get their car registered. They didn't realize that they were even set up because they hadn't heard about it. And he saw the signs and went in and had a tree fall near his house and jerked the meter out, and it fried everything electric in his house. So he was able to go over here and apply for a SBA loan or a low interest loan. I think some of them's like 2.85%. So that's how many people are being helped, and that's a result of emergency management's work.
Who's doing the inspections, Judge, on those?
FEMA and they're doing that. They have teams.
That's what I thought.
That when they came in here, they went out and they did all the inspections for the applications. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, it's a big operation. I can't remember how many million. I had a report for this whole area for all the different counties, but there's millions of dollars, but they're not through yet. That's just through last Friday. So, there's so much stuff, and a lot of times people don't interact with certain offices. I mean, it's kind of like the clerk's office. We don't all know everything that Mark has to deal with. We don't know everything the district clerk has to deal with. The other elected officials, tax office, there's a lot of issues that we don't deal with on a day-to-day basis. But I wanted to talk about emergency management. I want to talk about elections too. And I asked Terry to because technically this job has evolved. And so I wanted a list of the things that they have to, at least a general list of things that they have to deal with. They issue permits for OSS. They take payments, provide receipts, which is, these are like clerk duties. Submit OSS documentation of the state of Texas to TCEQ, and they actually get audited on some of that stuff because there's fees that TCEQ takes from those funds. So they have audits that they have to deal with. They're entering the septic tank report. About 90% are aerobic systems. So those systems have to file reports on maintenance with that office. So this is in addition, these are additional duties in addition to just being emergency management. Actually, she's gone, Tara is gone as the emergency management assistant and gotten certified. So she has a license, and they have to take continuing education to keep that license up. But the other day, while Christina was out with a family member in the hospital for a few days, we didn't have it. We didn't have a disruption in service for builders out here that needed an inspection on a septic system. She was able to go on and take care of that business because she came and told me she's going to be out of the building doing inspections. So, in emergency management, you got to maintain all the annexes that's required by Department of Emergency Management. So that's a continuing thing. I know I have to sign off on the plans that they put together. We just got one that was done and submitted to the state. So she updates those to the database. They have to give new connections on the OSS stuff to, the appraisal district, so they'll know that you've got a new property going in. They have to keep the emergency operation plans up and prepare materials for, different classes and things that they do. So they also do the floodplain management in that office. Christina does a lot of that. She stands in proxy, for Homeland Security, Committee over at the COG. If for some reason Christina's out, serves on the Safety Committee for the schools and all. That's new legislation. Sheriff's familiar with that because the state required that all the different schools prepare, emergency, response if they have something happen on their campuses, so they participate in that. So there's a whole lot that goes on in that office, and what I wanted to do is, number one, is go ahead and kind of update the title for the emergency. It's not just emergency management assistant, it's actually a deputy emergency management coordinator / clerk, because there's a lot of clerk duties that go along with that job and the paperwork that has to be done. And I would urge the commissioners, there was 2 people left out of that 39,000 out of over 20-something employees. And that was Tara Klein and Jenna Howe at the extension office. And they're both either right at 37 or just barely over 37 with a 1,200. And there was several of them that were at 3,700, just like they are. And I'm asking the court to bring them up to the 39 too, on both of those positions. I don't want to see anybody left out.
Bring them up to what you say?
To the 39.
The 39,
Yeah.
With the other clerk.
That was one of
Just
the projects.
what the other clerks were, and those 2 just got missed. And I didn't realize it, and I'm just coming back to the court and making sure that they don't get left out. And so I'll just do this. I'll make a motion that, the emergency, that number 1, we change the emergency management assistant to the deputy emergency management coordinator / clerk, and that, that position, as well as the administrative assistant at the extension office, be raised up to 39,000 like all the other clerks. And that's my motion.
Is Jenna at the 38,248
I think
this
she is,
time?
With 1,200, yes.
with his well.
Okay, I finally found it.
I second that.
All right, motion by Judge McKinney, second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Thank y'all. The other thing is, and I get, when Megan and I were looking at this on emergency management coordinator and looking at the elections, for instance, I was talking to Casey Thursday night, she had to stay late putting packets together that the Secretary of State's office does not furnish them for the election judges and things like that. She's working lots of hours, emergency management coordinator. During these storms, I've been on the phone and, with, Christina. She's been at Tennessee Colony. I'm in the south end, so we're both watching the weather on the storms, listening to the radios, what the sheriff's, I know around 11 o'clock, there was a tree across 294 out there in one of those last storms. It was huge. I had people calling me at home, and I was able to talk to her and to talk to the sheriff's office, dispatch by phone on things that we were hearing or being reported to us. So it's kind of a team effort, but they do a lot of work that just doesn't get recognized. They meet with the fire departments all the time, work out plans. I was at the fire meeting, Sheriff was at the fire meeting here the other night, and so they make those meetings, meet their needs. They keep up to date on all the towers. The repeater was going on. She was talking to Mr. Winchester at Encore, trying to get some response out there on the one on Harcrow Road. The temperature was real high, and we didn't have any power out there. So that's one of those infrastructures that's critical so that the Sheriff's Department communication stays up along with the fire departments. So, there's a lot of duties, changing out batteries, you know, going out there, and they have to go out to all the sites and, make sure stuff is kept up to date. I mean, if we have some kind of disaster, they're critical in making sure that all of our business partners are taken care of and that are notified. It's just like Dogwood, one of the water systems, called and they said their critical infrastructure, their tanks are getting low, they need their power back on. So we got with Encore, notified them, and they got them back on and up and running. They had 1,500 customers. If they run out of water, we're gonna be in a bind. A lot of people's gonna be in a bind. So, you know, the city didn't have generators once before. We had the ice storms and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm just saying, there's so many things that elections, they're critical. There's nobody can step in right now and have the knowledge base that Casey, I think she's close to 30 years if she's not at 30 years. And she's been doing that election stuff since 2008. There's a continuing, they have to get continuing education all the time. The legislature makes changes. She couldn't be here today. She's in Austin, I believe, training. So, we're talking about critical positions that affect most of the people, if not all the people in Anderson County at times. And we gotta have our elections running smooth. And she puts in a lot of extra hours and trying to punch a time clock. They've been exempt all this time. And exempt employees, they turn in a time sheet, but they don't keep up with every hour. But they keep up with some of it, at least to show that they got their 40 hours in. But they need to be exempt. I need those people when something's happening, or the election's going on, and she's got to be here at 6 o'clock in the morning to get the election judges, and get their boxes out, and get early voting open, and they stay late till 8, 9 o'clock at night. I've been up here, and she's been up here closing stuff up, making sure all the paperwork's done. You can't replace some people like that immediately. They're critical parts of our county government. So I'm just asking that we take those two positions, because we discussed it. And when Megan and I put it in there, I wanted it to be a court decision, okay? I didn't put in the exempt salary that the state's requiring. But we did put the money in overtime to get them there. So the money's in the budget. It's kind of like the foreman's. The money's in the budget. All we gotta do is a line item transfer to put that salary at exempt. And then I know that when I gotta call these people and they've gotta respond, I don't have to worry about, is it overtime or not? Does that make sense?
No, sir. I understand what you're saying, Judge, but I think every position in the county, from the county clerks to any position are all very valuable.
Well,
and I think they're
agree with you
compensated for what they're getting. The emergencies, the road and bridge guys are out all hours of the night. That's our job, to chase the trees and do the things that we do. So there's so much out there, and we've got limited amounts in most of our overtime, and we've, for the most part, have worked off of comp time, taking times off. And I thought that with the emergency management office, we took on the extra position in there to give her an assistant, now doing another assistant or new position in elections. I'd like to see how that would work into some of Casey's time, to be able to help her out with some of this overtime. And the same with Tara now. I commend her for getting her license. She can do anything that Christina can do, and maybe they can change out some shifts where they can trade out these responsibilities to not cause more expense to the county. And I think that where their salaries are set, they're compensated for what they do. Casey's my biggest concern. I don't know exactly, and that's one thing I've been researching this week, was checking other counties with their elections. We had a position officer to see where we're at to be in line with that for her. But the emergency management, I'm in good shape with a lot of these calls that she's making at night with these fire departments and all. I think that we've always handled it before with road and bridge and dispatch, and it's always worked out well without costing the county extra money. And that $13,000, whatever it is, the difference in it, is just, a little too much for me. I can't see it with, that responsibility for what she does, having two of them to replace it, to compare them to anybody else's employees in the county, so I'm gonna have a hard time doing it for me.
Yeah, elections is 13,056 is what that would be. And like I say, we did put that into overtime. And emergency man would be 12,540.
And I would like to look at pulling that overtime out and bringing it down to 1,000 like we do with Road and Bridge. Road and Bridge is set now where the majority of us, I think we've got $1,000 in our overtime.
Yes, sir.
And then they can take compensation time off, comp time off, and Christina could do it now with Tara being, eligible to do her job. She could come in if she had a 4 to 6 hour shift overnight, take off some time just like we do.
Use it as comp time. Take it
Just
as
using
comp
the comp time, and that's basically how it's set up, even, with the labor laws and stuff. They either gotta be compensated with the comp time or with the overtime pay, and the comp time, they get time and a half off, so it's the same thing, so.
Well, they're both gonna get overtime, probably on a regular basis when something bad's going on.
Something bad goes, same as we do.
Or during the elections, I mean, she's up here all hours. I've seen
I
her
agree.
on Saturdays, I've seen her up here on Sundays,
I agree.
because she's got deadlines to meet. But I couldn't see taking the overtime out. Because y'all have road construction money, unlike the other elected officials, we got a plan for overtime. That's what a budget is planning.
That's right.
So, the overtime is in there. Number one, I'd ask not to take that out or reduce it, but I would like to see them at the exempt salaries. But,
I understand what you're saying about the exempt salary. I think what bothers me as a court member, how much of an increase it was at one time. That it jumped up to the 58,656.
but the state's the one that required that, that's not us.
I understand, and I think that's what the hardest hit is, that is going, and all it is 25,596 to get them to that level. And I'm not saying what either one of them do. I mean, I've seen both of them doing exactly what you're talking about, being up here late at night or being out on something that's happening on the road. But I also see Commissioner Chaffin's point as being able to use, taking some of that as comp time, or is it?
Take it to comp time.
Take off
With
one day.
Casey, I can see that she can't, because of, she can't do some things, but I think the emergency management side could do it just like our road and bridge and use our compensation time.
Question, when did the exempt status change to go up?
It
They changed
this
them
year,
from-
just now.
that's
Yes,
only-
now.
See,
in
that's
September, right?
that handout.
In January.
And I guess that they've always been treated like they were exempt, and now that they're saying they're not exempt, just like the rest of road and bridge and everybody else. Nobody really is exempt.
Well, what they did is they actually said that, anybody that is exempt, and they've been exempt, then the compensation that the state required, it needs to be $58,656 per year. So the state set that, that's a mandate. So if they're below that, then they're no longer exempt and they're eligible for overtime.
Okay,
Which they can use comp time for that
So-
overtime.
to be clear, is there anything stopping the election coordinator, from any state requirements by not being, exempt
No, there's other counties that are non-exempt as well.
for the election coordinator?
Yes.
Because she didn't want to be taken one direction or the other.
Yeah, she didn't want to be changed from, I told her I didn't know anything about it.
I was hadn't had time to talk to her about
I
it.
know this was some change over on the federal level, and I think to her impression, it was changed by the commissioner's court. And, I specifically told her, that status came to us and we knew nothing about it. I just knew there was a federal change, and,
No, it
we
came
didn't-
from the Department of Labor.
okay, so we didn't specifically change her. I stated that to her,
So
but,
if she doesn't go to that level, then she would be
but she said it would mess, she has to check with the Department of Labor to make sure it doesn't mess with any of her election requirements or certification wise or something.
I don't think it would, because there's other counties that the election administrator are non-exempt.
Okay.
The other day, didn't we talk about just leaving the overtime in there and letting them just accrue the overtime?
That's what the court, we never did any motions.
Right,
See,
but
we
that's
just-
what we talked about doing.
Yeah, we talked about leaving it in there, but if we did that, I would like to definitely have the court to look and approve that as
Well,
it
that-
comes.
Like I said, I think both of them positions have the ability through the year, just like Road and Bridge, you know, later on at the end of the year, have the ability to allow their men to use some of their comp time when things are due. And same thing with elections and emergency management. I mean, if nothing was scheduled, on a Friday and she, you know, used that Friday or comp time that Tara's there, or if Tara had comp time, you know,
That's
and then if an emergency did arise, which we never know when that would be, you know, you'd have to come back in. So I understand your position of, yeah, if you do get a lot of overtime for an issue, take it off as comp time, you know, take time off.
Just
All right,
on the
so y'all wanna
management.
just leave it like it is then?
Well, we'll have more meetings before this is done,
Okay.
so.
All right.
Do you wanna go to Senate Bill 22? That's what's next in that packet.
Okay, yeah.
It's 3 pages, with what the sheriff's office was proposing. $8,400 for all the, what do you call them? Deputies. I was gonna say, commissioned peace officers, thank you. $8,400 for everyone in the sheriff's department that are commissioned peace officers. And on the last page is all the jailers with $5,250 to them. The front page is the breakdown, the salary and then the benefits, and it equals $498,554. So that's $1,400 left out of that $500,000. And then I also put for comparison to show you what their salaries are just in the general fund, and then adding the SB 22 funds, what that would look like.
Where's that at?
On the
On
first
the first
page.
page at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so. And of course, we just talked about this the first time, that's the first time I'd heard it the other day. So I've tried to go back and look and see, you know, number one, to make sure that the sheriff has the resources he's got to run the jail and the deputies, but on a,
That's it, right there.
the other thing is being able to audit and account for the funds, because we talked about that. But I remember last year, and I'm concerned about the count, you gotta have, right now, y'all running 221, I think, when I did magistration, I was looking at the board. So you gotta have 5 people on the shift. Okay, and so, actually.
6, because the control operator doesn't count.
Right, but, yeah, I was just counting the ones on the floor. Yeah, so you got one running the control room, so technically that's 6. So, and that was a concern last year about making sure that we had enough people in the jail, and that's why we added the 6 jailers in Senate Bill 22. And also another transport officer, because Sharp was the only transport officer that sheriff had, and he was meeting himself coming and going. So we put a transport officer in, and then we put another, special services person in. So, I worry that we do this that he's gonna be short employees, because he's actually got 2 on medical leave right now. One's been on medical leave for close to a year. So that's 2 more, so he's 10 short in the jail, 10 deputies short, unless they've hired somebody in the last day or 2, and 1 dispatcher short. But in addition to the 10 jailers short, he's got 2 on medical leave, so that makes him 12 short. And that's gonna happen from time to time, so I'm just, thinking we need to probably keep 3 of those jailer positions, because last year we did the 6 and they were wanting, another 6 to make sure they stay within count. So I'm thinking if we do 3 in the jail, go ahead and leave 3 positions in Senate Bill 22 and 1 transport officer. Because I know between all the courts, you got, I think Marvin and James are doing the transports, right? Marvin Jenkins, okay. So he's got two that's been doing a lot of those transfers between all the courts and picking people up that are bench warranted and everything else, so. And when we talked the other day, I'm looking at probably just like, they are, trying to get all of the positions that he has now filled. And so, trying to enhance the pay. So I'm kind of thinking, we don't do all the positions, but we do half and half. In other words, leave 3 jailers and 1 transport officer, and then take the rest of the balance and do the raises. And because the main thing is to have the people to cover what he's got to cover with inmate counts that are higher and being able to do transports and all that. So I'm, that's kind of my thinking, because I'm afraid we're gonna come up short and he's gonna end up having to ask for people 3 or 4 months in. So.
But that'd only be if you filled them positions currently, right? Then you'd have, I mean, that would be the only way that happened, you
Let me say this.
get at least 20 people.
That proposal the county judge has made would not be my, preference in use of this, because thank you very much, Mark, sorry about that. That proposal would not be my choice for the use of that money, because positions we can't fill at any rate are just imaginary positions. You know, they don't actually provide us that resource. We were very lucky to be able to hire some people, particularly, 1 bailiff, 1 transport officer, while they were waiting to assume office to elections they've won. And it's made a little bit of a difference, but in the coming year, without a significant pay raise or an adjustment in salary or compensation for commissioned peace officers, we won't fill those positions. They'll just be empty positions. You could authorize 14 more jailers and, another 200 deputies, and we wouldn't be able to fill them at any rate, at the current rates. I mean, we need to be in a competitive zone, and that's what the redistribution of SB 22 would allow us to do, and that was actually the goal of the legislature when they passed this, is to allow the sheriffs to be able to set compensation for the market that they're in to fill the positions they have authorized for them. We have 5 prison units in the county. They're reestablished in Gurney, and that'll be open soon. Of the 5, 3 of them are classified as maximum security, so they get additional pay. And even with these adjustments, I'll talk about the maximum units. It won't even bring our jailers up to an equal amount with them, but it'll put it in the competitive zone so that the difference in the working conditions and the type of work they do might be more attractive at the sheriff's office than TDC. It'll allow us to compete in the same crowded market that we are right now. If we cut any of that proposed salary adjustment or compensation for them, I'm afraid we'll be too far away to be competitive, and we'll be right back in the same boat we're in now, working very, very shorthanded because we can't fill positions that were authorized. I would like to fill the ones that are general fund authorized at a level that I'm pretty sure that we can fill them at, attract and retain.
On the jailer side, anyway.
On both sides.
Yeah.
So even if we do the amount that the auditor has indicated on here at these levels, if you track law enforcement compensation in midterm adjustments like I do, there have been lots of counties, lots of municipal agencies that have done midterm adjustments because it's just turned into a very crowded, competitive field. And they waved the magic wand at the legislature about a year ago and created the mandate that every school district have a law enforcement presence on every campus. There's 1,200 plus school districts, 9,000 plus campuses, creating theoretically the need for well in excess of 10,000 police officers. They created the need, they didn't create the police officers. All they did was create a very competitive process now where these agencies, particularly school districts, must have those officers and must have them filled, or else they're in violation of the law. We can work as shorthanded as we want to on patrol. You know, the only people we're really hurting is the citizens of Anderson County. We're not violating the law when we do that, but we're not providing the services that we're supposed to our community.
But that is a concern of this court. We don't want you to be short in patrol, because that's where issues come in the county that reflect.
Absolutely. I believe I'd like to fill every job we have, and I think we can if we go with this, redistribution and make it competitive.
We'll also have the sheet, I guess you passed out this morning about, jail maintenance. Was that part of that? And so you're wanting a jail maintenance hand?
Well, part of that kind of feeds into what the county judge was talking about, is we had created additional positions in SB 22 in order to, be able to provide better services to the community, to the sheriff's office, and we had used one of those positions as a jailer. He's a licensed jailer, but he was helping out in, the shop and with all our maintenance issues. And between the two maintenance men working jointly, covering, everything, it helped us a lot with the budget. If we're going to not fund those additional SB 22 positions, we would have to let this jailer go, because, this luxury of having the second maintenance man. We would like to create a maintenance man, because we need those people in the jail. We'd like to create a maintenance man out of the parts of the budget that were already in our general fund, but will not be utilizing those funds because we're going to SB 22. Catch me if I'm speaking out of turn, Megan, but it would be, funds from, the insurance benefits that would be paid to the eight employees, right? To roughly put it, that's about $80,000 plus.
When we had that discussion, Sheriff, the other day, because Nick and I actually had a discussion about that, but we can't pay out of Senate Bill 22, we can't pay the health insurance.
Correct.
That's correct.
So there is no money, there is no extra funds that we were talking about the other day. In other words, if you've got people that are filling those positions, there is no, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is no extra money in the general fund left over. The $10,080 per person is for the regular funded positions. There was no other line item that funded the positions for Senate Bill 22. Those other 8 positions, there's not a line item that was created to fund those.
So you're
We would
saying
have had,
they didn't have insurance?
well,
Well, it's just a hope and a prayer of the unfilled positions you have that will take care of that,
right,
basically.
because there is no extra funds in the general fund taking care of those 8 positions. The money that is left over from the unfunded positions is what took care of their health insurance. And if you remember, there was $200,000 in contingency that could have done that if all the positions were filled. But, I mean, I think as an average, you've probably been 10, 15 people short all year long in the jail and in the deputy positions.
I messed up on the calculation. You said you thought it's more than what you thought. Well, that's because I messed it up. The retirement was not calculated correctly. So, the jailers, if you do 4,000 for the jailers, it'll end up being $4,200 over the 500,000, which, I mean, I'm comfortable with because everyone has deductions and that actually lowers your taxes, so.
So
Instead of 5250.
5250,
Yes, it'd be 4,000. I'm so sorry.
it'd be 4,200?
4,000. Oh, no, it would be 4,200 over the 500,000.
Okay.
Um,
this-
Oh, 4,200 over the 500,000.
Yes, yes. But 4,000 for the jailers. I apologize. Sitting here looking at it, retirement looked not right, so, and that's what it was. I'm
So
sorry.
you had a lot on your plate, understandable.
So my question is when we still were budgeting for 25, not knowing that we were gonna ask to change the Senate Bill 22 funds to salary increases, We still didn't budget
No.
for insurance for
Yes,
'25?
no, I didn't think about it, no. No,
Okay.
that's not in there.
Then we would ask that, well, you know, we would withdraw the argument that that would come at no increase to the, general fund, but we would still ask for that position to be created, given the fact that it saves the county so much money in the long run. Between the two maintenance men, we probably save the county in excess of $200,000 a year in having to contract things out that they just handle. Because the plumbers and electricians, they don't know a number, lower than about $500, you know, just for coming out. And that's if they don't do anything but go out and go, yeah, that's broken, I'm gonna order some parts.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you met all the criteria in Senate Bill 22, you can use those funds for other positions. You can use the Senate Bill 22, as long as you met all the criteria. Sheriff's making $75,000, the deputies are making $45,000, and the jailers are making $40,000. If you met all that after talking to the comptroller's office, then there is, because we talked about, you know, do you need another dispatcher or something like that? You can create another position, so that could be created, that could be one of the jailer positions in Senate Bill 22, if that person's licensed as a jailer, to be able to come into the jail and work, just like you got somebody on medical, so.
But at what cost? You know, it pulls money out of those salary increases, which getting us to where we are was intentional. It was intentional because that's where we believe that the sweet spot is in order for us to be able to fill those positions.
And you understand the other day, I totally understood what you were doing, and I wasn't necessarily opposed to it. The only thing I'm looking at is making sure you got the staff also, not just the pay, but the staff to cover all your shifts, because that was something we really discussed last year in depth, is making sure you had those people covered. And then it slipped my mind that you had 2 on medical leave, so you're 2 more short. So I thought, okay, the best of both worlds is maybe doing 3 jailers. In other words, splitting, you had 8 people. Take that, retain 4, and then take all the rest of it and put it in the raises for, and I know what you're trying to do is get it to where you can attract more people, and I'm not opposed to that.
You know,
I just don't want to cut our resources, and next year, we're asking for 3 to 6 people in the middle of the budget year, because we got to cover some more shifts.
Well, Judge, hopefully that won't happen, but your concern for our resources are not any more, urgent than our concerns for our resources. And at the end of the day, as the sheriff eloquently said, every position we can't fill is just imaginary. So until we hit the spot where we can start to fill those positions with qualified applicants, not just somebody that needs a job for a little while, people that wanna actually, stay in one place and, do a good job, then it doesn't matter how many we're authorized, because there'll be a bunch of them just sitting open, which makes way less sense to the budgetary process for the county, is to budget for positions you know you can't fill.
Let me mention something else, okay? So right now, we can account for Senate Bill 22 in an audit, because it's for those positions, and those positions have been filled by people that were working in the department, okay? So that we gotta maximize those funds. So, let's say we take all that money and move it into the deputies and the jailers' positions, like you're proposing. And then you still can't fill 5 or 6 or 7 positions. Now we're in a quagmire of how we're gonna account for those funds, and that we spend them all. And, now, I mean, right now, that's, the monies that are not being used for salaries are being used for overtime and other things. I know we did a $30,000 budget amendment to repairs, so.
Well, we don't wanna we don't wanna fail to use a resource the state has provided to the sheriffs, in rural Texas, but keeping up with it won't be a problem, because if we're not spending it, it'll all still be in the account, and she'll have track of it.
No, what I'm saying is, if at the end of December the 31st of next year, we haven't spent those funds, now we can account for it. Now we're spending those funds for those 6 positions.
So you're saying if in the year we're still 5 short, that's $8,400 times 5, that we can't account for, because we didn't spend the money.
It's not being spent for what our purpose was. And so, I mean, I've kind of looked at this holistically, and I want to make sure, I'm not for not using the money for their raises. I'm just trying to look at it from the county's overall standpoint of making sure that we're giving him also the staff that money was intended for, if they need extra staff. And we had those discussions last year. Even if those positions were filled, he wanted 6 more positions, because we didn't know he wasn't gonna be able to fill all the positions. So, I'm just saying, let's split the difference. We're still gonna have to have funds in the general fund to take care of, you know, the healthcare.
Well, toward that end, Judge, even if we used your proposal and split the difference, there would still be the possibility that we'd have open positions you couldn't account for, and so your accounting argument still is valid. So it's no more valid if we have no positions that we're saving back from SB 22 than it is if we save back half of them.
But what I'm saying, and what I'm hearing is, you had 4 people leave Anderson County making higher pay and went to Draper. They're making less money in Draper than they were in Anderson County Sheriff's Office. You got people leaving, and they're taking the pay cuts. And so if you can't fill those positions, sometimes it's not about pay. If you can't fill the positions, then we gotta worry about how we're gonna account for those funds. And I wanna make sure we maximize the general fund as well as the Senate Bill 22. So that's where I'm at.
Judge, those people down there were promised some pay they didn't get, and they're unhappy about it. We have communication with them. But they're also not working excessive amounts of overtime when, it's kinda like Frankston. When Frankston don't have somebody to cover a shift, they just don't cover it, because guess what? The sheriff's office will cover it for them. So I worked that county for 15 years as the ranger, and I know how they operate.
Well, we're real close. Well, the start pay at Smith County, from what I understand, is about $50,000. So we're right at the start pay. And if we can do what you're asking to do with half of those funds to give raises, you're gonna be competing. And there's some of these counties around here that don't have the ability to compete with Smith County. We're getting there. We're actually getting closer to that. Because when you figure they're gonna be making 49.2 2 years ago. When you first took office, the salary for a deputy was 39.2. What's proposed is $10,000 more than what it was in 21. So,
but Smith County doesn't have 5 prison units to compete against that are paying what deputies are making. And Smith County is larger, so they have some internal growth, and some professional development and professional growth that they can see as a deputy, that they can have a career there because they get a wage that they find competitive, and they have a goal because it's a larger agency, there's more movement and more openings. So the demographics are different.
But we do have, in addition, I was gonna say, in addition to the 49.2, they've got certificate pay, depending on where they're at. They got step pay, and they got longevity pay. So there's additional funds. That probably puts, some of them at close to 55,000 right now, depending on what their step is. So I'm just saying that, before we go into something, I just got, I learned about this, just last week when we were in that budget workshop. And my first impression is that would probably be a good move, but at the same time, I can't just look at those existing positions. I need to make sure you're gonna have the staff numbers to be able to cover, all your shifts and everything. So. And the jailers, you got some good people down there. I've been working with them. And so.
So have I, and they've been working.
I don't have a problem with raising salaries. I just wanna make sure we got everything covered, because the jail commission's gonna come in. We did this before. I went through this years ago, and I had to get Terry Jillian to come to the court and explain to them that you gotta have 4 more. They told us 4, they needed 8. And so we ended up with 4 more, and that wasn't budgeted, so, or they were gonna shut our jail down. So I just wanna make sure that this court is required to meet the requirements of making sure you got the staff, you got the medical resources, the health, make sure their health's taken care of, make sure that they're in an air-conditioned facility, all those things that the jail commission requires us to do. The staffing, I wanna make sure you got the number of staff to take care of the shifts, and with 221, you're doing 5 a shift. Now, I guess y'all are running 2 shifts, aren't you? Are you running 2 shifts in the jail? Sir?
12-hour shifts.
Okay, I wasn't sure, I didn't know. Okay, so,
People need days off, even though they don't always get them.
right, they're gonna have to take their days off, you gotta figure all that in too, and if they take a vacation or something. But they're working lots of overtime.
Bunch.
I thought, what was their last budget amendment for overtime? Do you remember?
There was it 40,000 in the jail and 30,000 on the sheriff's side, or 20,000 on the sheriff's side.
They're working lots of overtime, because it's difficult to fill the positions at the rate that they're currently compensated at. And we're back to, I'd like to compensate them at a more competitive rate, because I'll fill the authorized positions that we have in the, sheriff's office.
And like I said, I'm not opposed to giving them raises. I'm just trying to look at this in a different way. To give them as much as we can, but at the same time, make sure we got the staff. Make sure we got the appropriate number of positions. So that's, that's kind of where I'm at.
What's this new thing you give us, Megan?
This is the updated, schedule for the jailers, because I didn't have the retirement rate correct on the original one. Nick did say, oh, that's more than what he thought, and that was why, 'cause I messed it up. So it's 4,000, and then for the jailers, and then that'll make the grant be over 4293, which, I mean, with open, the factor is open positions, everyone has, most people have deductions, so that actually lowers your taxes. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, that's a very small amount.
Right.
And then maximize giving
So
the
it'd go
amount
from
to
the
jailers.
5250 to 4,000.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And then, the deputy.
So 5250
I'm sorry.
page is trash.
Yes, that one's correct, yes.
It'd go to 50,600. And that's very acceptable. I knew it was.
I'm sorry. I was
You
like, yeah.
were in a hurry. You had a lot of
I worked my
stuff going on.
magic.
But that would be in addition to the
Well,
across the board, that would be in
the
addition
deputy
to the across the board raise that the commissioners board already said.
Also, that does include the second jail maintenance
No.
position, so if,
Yeah.
that does include the second jail maintenance position, so if the court does not approve a second jail maintenance position, then that would come out. That could cover the 4,000 and change.
Would that be a separate action?
You don't really
Correct,
have that.
yes.
We really need that maintenance position, if the court can find their way to approve.
That's in your, packet as well, additional jail maintenance position. The cost of the general fund would be $67,562. It's behind
y'all think?
Well, there's a lot of unknowns here. I don't have a problem with what the sheriff proposed. Like I say, the positions, I don't know if they're all gonna get filled anyway. I'd love to see this get them filled. I don't know that it's gonna fill them, but I think it's something that's gonna definitely have to be looked at again next year. And the only thing I hate to see next year is if these positions are filled and come next year, you do need some more positions. You know, would this rate have to go down? Would you not be able to, if you had, say, 5 more deputies next year, would they not get the 8,400? Would they only get, say, 8,000 apiece? So they would, you know, it might actually cut the pay.
Well,
And that
either
would,
that or we're gonna have to raise the general fund.
yeah. And that would be my only concern with that, you know, which you could fill them and needed the other 3, or I don't want you to need the other 3, because that brings another issue and problem, but, other than that, I mean, I think it's up to the sheriff to decide how to spend that Senate bill money, and
Well, I mean, that's a court decision. DA had all the decision-making in theirs on that 275. This is a court decision on it. So,
I understand.
I mean, I'm listening to his recommendations, it's just, I'm looking at all the factors, not just trying to fill those positions, making sure you got staff. And so, I was just looking at a way to balance that some. Get some pretty good salary increases, and at the same time, make sure those jail positions are covered. Cause the jail commission, you don't tell them, you can't, well, we're not gonna fund those positions, that's where we were at before.
No, we've been there a lot, since, 16 years since I've been in here. We've run across that several times.
Yes, sir. And what's the, again, what is the duties of the additional jail maintenance position?
The duties are the same as the the existing jail position. They just, our jail maintenance position. They just basically back one another up on doing projects. If there's one working inside the building and the other one's running a trustee crew out mowing, or vice versa. So that there's not a bunch of downtime where you can't get 2 things. Sometimes they're both inside the building, both working on different projects inside the facility to try to make sure things get, repaired in an appropriate amount of time. And additionally, they're both always on call in case something goes down on a weekend and we need them.
But they're employed now, both of them.
Yeah, both of them are there. One of them's just occupying a jailer position that we wanna give back to the jail, since we are cutting those Senate Bill 22s from positions from bodies to,
So you will
salary.
be able to add another jailer in that position.
Yes.
If we have that.
That's coming out of the general fund. If we move all that for raises, we're already asking for another position, and we're cutting 8 positions out of Senate Bill 22.
Originally, y'all had it
Less
from,
needed in the elections office was.
Well, I understand, I don't have a problem with, doing it if we do it out of Senate Bill 22, and just designate them as a jailer, and then you use them for what you need them for. I mean, in the old days, Ralph took a crew, and he was working on 501c3, properties and everything else, out taking mowing crews and helping a lot of people. But it had to be, it had to be for the public, it couldn't be for a private enterprise. So, we've done that stuff before.
I'd like to see it done however the sheriff think. I know it's a court decision, but how the sheriff thinks would best fit. I mean, he knows, he's in there, how he would know what would best fit his program and see if we can get the positions filled.
I echo Commissioner Hill.
Let me ask a question with, if the court decides to go and move all of Senate Bill 22 over there to the deputies and the jailers, then what is your coverage in the jail with the existing positions? How many positions? And say, it's hard to figure this because y'all understand whose days off, the days off and everything has to be figured in there. So, how many positions working that are filled? How are we meeting the needs of the jail when you got 221, you got 4 shifts and you gotta have 5 on shift? How is that working right now?
Well, Judge.
Is it overtime? Is it overtime?
Right this minute, we're paying overtime. However, you know, sergeants do count as staff if we need them to. We would prefer that they don't. We have 24 authorized jailers. So that would allow us to have 6, as long as everybody was there. And as you mentioned earlier, people take off on medical leave and different things. One of those should resolve itself before the end of the year. But nonetheless, we staff those as we need to staff them. And, you know, frankly, if, to that end, if we are able to fill every position we have, and our count gets high enough that they're having to work overtime to cover the count, we're still better off than we are right now.
So do the jail sergeants work the floor? Are they counted in the 5?
Yes.
Okay.
And the master sergeant works the floor as needed. You just can't count the assistant administrator and the administrator, or the control operator.
I knew the control operator. They were counting the control operator on that other issue I dealt with, and can't do that.
No, it's not permitted.
Additionally, we're in the process of licensing all of our deputies as jailers as they come in, so that we'll have a little more cushion if we do get in the bind and have to have some extra coverage here and there.
So at this point, we need to make a motion on whether to let the sheriff use it as he's presented it, proposed to us, if that be, and then that'll still leave on the table the position, the other position.
He's still asking for that a new position.
But that doesn't really fit into that motion about the,
No, it's a separate motion.
Not unless you leave one position, fund that position in Senate Bill 22.
but it could be filled by that one, if that be the case, right?
But if you do that, it's gonna
If the
change.
court determines that it needs to be, but the salary increases would have to be, reduced by enough money to, fund that.
Could you show
Be
us,
right at about, right at $800 per employee.
Could that be an option?
I'm really committed to the, compensation package, because I can't, fill everything, I don't believe, unless we're competitive at the levels as I've indicated.
But there's open positions in it now, right, in the jail side of it?
Yes, there are open positions in various, parts of the sheriff's office at the currently funded rates.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, I've been thinking about this a whole lot. One of the things that your employees are important, okay? But I agree, all the employees for the county are important to the functions of this county, to be able to function and do our jobs. So if we do this, it's gonna be some huge raises for the sheriff's department. I gotta look at, I don't have just 8 or 10 employees that work for me. I got 228, 229. So if we do this, I would like some concession that maybe in next year's budget, we leave the salaries that way and look at trying to help our other employees, and we did that one time before. But I'm just putting information out there, and y'all can think about it, but there's gonna be some,
But the monies that he's using for that is designated just for that, so it's not really an option to use it, yeah. So it wasn't like it's, I mean,
well, I'm just asking the sheriff if that would be some kind of concession. If we
You're
did
saying
that.
if we would forego any anticipated raise in some other budget year? And I would say no, because law enforcement is uniquely competitive right now. Recruiting retention's a national issue, not an Anderson County issue, despite what you may think. And if you let them slide back any, that's just further back they get. If this SB 22 didn't exist, the $1,200 across the board raise that we got would not fully fund, the anticipated cost of living increase for 2025. We went into another year and we took, the option that, we didn't take whatever the county, was gonna authorize. It would push back and back and back. You look up one day, you have to do like the city of Palestine did, because they weren't keeping pace with they had to make a 30% adjustment in the pay for the, police department in order to create a competitive zone to compete in. And then, I pointed out to, I think, one of the commissioners in the conversation of the day, the, chief of police and I communicate quite regularly. They're given a test. They have 3 openings and they have 20-plus qualified applicants for that job. Where before they had that 30% increase, they had 3 openings and they gave a test with 3 or 4 people. And if they were lucky, hired 1. If they were qualified, if not, they just kicked it down the road, started all over again a month later, and went through the process. That's the difference that being in competitive in today's law enforcement market makes.
well, the SB 22 money that's coming in that the federal government has given us to make the enhancements to your salaries, has really nothing to do with our general fund money, our monies that are coming in through the county. So I don't see that you wouldn't make you ineligible for a cost of living raise. The $1,200 that didn't meet that, needs of cost of living, it impacted everybody in the county.
It impacted everybody.
Our families at home. I
Yes,
don't
sir.
think that our families at home got more than the $1,200 raise if they got that. So I think that you would be just as eligible for any, because, we compensate y'all for that throughout, our budget process. It has nothing to do with.
We certainly appreciate it. We
but-
just would not want to forego any anticipated future compensation from the county.
That's right.
That was just a question.
Yeah, and SB 22, if it went away, it would really be a punch, because
It would be a big punch, and we would have to
We
deal
couldn't
with it
meet
as
that.
a community.
we could meet that demand, there's no way.
It would be such a big punch statewide, Commissioner, that that's almost an assurance that it won't go away.
But when things are better and our economy's better and everything works together, I've seen this here, I've been here for 12 years and seen 3 to 5% increases in raises whenever this.
Well, knowing you as I do, I'd say you take care of your people as much as you can, and I appreciate that, because that's the way I feel, is whenever you have a chance to treat your employees right, it's always the right thing to do.
Well, Senator Nichols at our conference said that the state of Texas is not gonna defund the police, so I don't think Senate Bill 22 is going away.
I don't believe so either.
Okay, so, I just think we needed to have a discussion and look at all the different things that we're dealing with.
But the extra position that you're asking for, even y'all say it can't be hired in, there's open positions now. What keeps that from, does that take away from your number count when he's gonna fill the jail and do maintenance? What is that?
That's correct. It can't do maintenance and operate as a jailer at the same moment.
Instance, yeah.
So.
But he'd still be considered a jailer, but it would back it up enough because.
He could, but then that throws us one jailer back from where we need to be. If, as Judge McKinney says, our count does get high to the next level, it throws us one jailer back from where we need to be.
But the worst scenario at that point, if we didn't put him in a position of that, and he was just in the jailer position and we had maintenance to do, we'd have to call maintenance in, right? Some type of, plumber or electrician, whatever.
We had a position like that, and he worked in the shop, but when they needed him in jail, he went to jail, so, before. I assume that the one that you got now probably has to do that on occasion to go in and, if he's working in the
Well,
shop?
we're able to keep the one we have now separated where he just has to work, maintenance.
Okay.
Because when we try to do both things at the same time, then it winds up, one or the other of them's gonna suffer.
Okay. Well, do y'all wanna come back to this, or you wanna take a lunch break? You come back, or?
Yes, I want to go lunch.
Well, it's two different issues, so.
What else is left
Well,
after
whatever.
One
this?
doesn't seem to be.
Health insurance.
Health insurance, yeah, might as well take a break. If y'all want to, I'll stay here, I'll sit here all day.
I'm with Megan, I kinda like
You with
to
me?
eat myself.
Alright, let's,
Change your mind.
let's, take a recess till 1:15, how's that?
All right.
Or y'all wanna go to 1:30?
No, 1:15 is fine.
1:15.
Or
Alright, we'll
did you hear
stand in
that?
recess
1:15.
till 1:15, it's
No,
12 noon
no.
at this time.